My space is a various space. It doesn't just do music. So today we're going to work on some AI work. Okay, I'm going to show you Leonardo, like experiment with Leonardo, which is this. I use on occasion. Okay, I have other ones that I use, but this is a good starting point. We're also going to use Frisco, Adobe Frisco, to do some sketches. Where is it? Oh, wait, first off, let me just do every 3 o'clock I need to do my Poshmark. It's work, I suppose. So let me get this done. I always have to do this. Okay, that was a quick one today. Okay, and today we're going to do Adobe Frisco and Leonardo. And we're experimenting with, not experimenting, but we're coming up with ideas. Now this takes a bit of time. I just downloaded this from my personal Facebook page, but we're going to incorporate photographs of Dior and Dolce that we have taken in a while back. So this is Dior. This is all going to come into play. Okay. And I think the character that I'm going to create, I'm going to start with one. Let me start with Dior today. I'm going to start with one. We're going to just start off with two characters. Okay. And we're going to have them standing versus them just kind of being like normal animals. We're going to make them almost human. Oh, froze. Okay. Okay, so we're going to make this almost a human. Okay, and these are jackets that I made them. So I made these jackets, if you zoom in. Oops. So these are jackets that I've produced for them. Okay. And then this is that logo. This is my personal logo for Nomadics, the registered company that I have. Okay, now we're going to go into, we're going to mix it up a little bit. So I'm going to start with, and then I have my figure over here. So we're going to use some of Dior's faces and we're going to put them on a body shape. So I think what I'm going to do, and what I've done with my young student for art, he's starting from ground zero. Adobe Frisco. So, for example, I've utilized, say for example, I've taken my own photograph. I've taken my own photograph and I've kind of modified it on Adobe Frisco, okay? So I'm not just using my tablet or my computer just for music. It is for art as well, because that is what I do and that's what I studied. So it's important to incorporate both together. And I do self-portraits. So this is a self-portrait I did. So Facebook does pay me to take pictures and then post them on their Facebook page. So digital art is also part of what I'm working on. Okay, so we're going to do, let's go into Create New. Elongated, let's try elongated. So we're going to explore, and I'm not going to, I think for my personal concentration, I think what I'm going to do is, let me just bring this up a little bit more. And I use my finger, believe it or not, to create these figures. So we're going to start with, I don't know if you guys can see this. We're not going to do music today. We're going to do graphic design or digital art. But you can use your iPad for this. These are free apps you can use. Okay. So I'm going to use my finger. Let me just see, 30 is a little much. Oops. And yep, that's too much, but you can see how interesting it is. No, I don't want that one. Yeah, like a pen. Okay, did you see that? So I'm drawing on here. I can draw. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm going to start off with a figure. So I'm going to draw a face, just like a quick head. So I start with shapes. I start with shapes. Okay, this is how you usually do it. I'm starting with shapes. I don't know if you can see it. Let me bring this closer maybe. Starting with shapes. How am I going to have, let's see, how am I going to have this figure standing? Let's position, say for instance it's Dior. We're going to position him. We'll just start with a basic shape. Okay. And then I sketch it out and then I erase it later. I don't know, can you see that? Yeah, I can see that. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, and then I shape the body. This will be edited in a bit. I just want to get the basic shape. Okay, and you can go in and zoom out as examples, okay? In theory, it should be bigger. But let's just start with a position. I think it's important to get the posture together. And everything I do here, I can always post on Facebook because I use Facebook as my artistic space, okay? This is more educational, so I'm using this as an education platform now. Okay, and now we're going to, let's get the eraser and erase the parts that we don't need. You can enlarge the eraser. Okay, so this just creates, and I like this because you don't have to have a canvas. You can literally kind of work through this as you go along. Okay, so let's just say that that's the figure. Okay, now we're going to expand this and let's just use, I wish I had a photograph in front of me, but my phone is being used right now, so we can go back and forth. Okay, so let's start with a cat. Let's start with ears. Okay. So we're going to, I don't think he needs a waist, so we're going to, Dior is going to be a guy, so we have to shape him accordingly, of course. Okay. So I'm using a tablet to come up with a general idea for a character that I will eventually use as a story process, and then, yeah. Okay. Okay, now we're going to, it's funny how people expect it to be a final product, but it's not. I'm walking you guys through how to develop this, if this is something you're interested in. If not, then that's fine too. So, okay, so we're going to zoom in. Now, I don't have, I mean, some people use a pen, but I'm not using a pen. I just have my finger. So let's erase sections over here. up with a general shape. Okay, so this is just a general starting point. It's not going to be done, but it's a work in progress. Let me see. So my cat has, let's say he's going to have his little mane over here. So we're going to start with a mane. I guess he will have that kind of thing. Okay, so his hair is relatively long. Okay, so now we're going to change the color. Let's change it to his color, which is like a golden, almost like a golden color, right? Is that right? Like a ginger? Okay, yeah, let's do that. So you can go in, you can see that you can go in and color to different color. So I'm just adding layers today. I'm not going to have anything finished, but I think coming up with a general and all my platforms I have, I'm generally, oh God, I shouldn't even be talking. I should just be proactive. Let's start over again. We'll just add this, and then we're going to add the lines back on. Okay, so we start with getting his shape in. Back to black. Ironically, the movie Back to Black is coming out too. Oops, too big. Which is kind of cool. Which is Amy Winehouse, right? Okay. So we're starting a general idea. It's nothing too drastic. I'm not going into detail. You can look at my other pieces for detailed stuff. But we're starting with a drawing. Okay, so this is the beginning stages. Okay. And then we'll start adjusting the colors, but let me get the shape first. Oh. We'll just move that. Okay, get a cat shape going on here. Okay, and we're going to change up the color. There's another way to do this, but I want to just talk through this first. Okay, so this is hand drawn, and then you can do AI, but I like to blend the two together. I'm just doing something on here. I'm testing out characters, literally character sketches, and I like the fact that I don't have to have a whole canvas. You can just have this and then delete it if you want, if you don't like it. Yeah. So we're going to get into this. This is literally a rough sketch. It's not anything completed. I just started it. AI would probably do it in like 5 seconds, but this is hand drawn. Okay, this is hand drawn stuff. Let me add a little bit of red to his cheeks, so we have just there and there, almost like a Pikachu. Hi, how are you? Belicia Noel. How are you doing, Belicia Noel? I just saw you there. Thank you for popping over. I'm coming up with a general idea right now. It's not a completed anything. I'm having a little bit of fun. It's called character sketching. So what I'm doing right now is just coming up with a general idea of a figure. I'm using my cat's face. I'm going to be doing this with my animals. I'm going to be using my animals as the characters because a lot of people, but I'm starting off. So this is just a general sketch. It's going to get more in detail later on. Okay. I do art and music. Today is an art day. I just need to start this, so I'm starting it. Okay. Let me see. Change the color again. See, what you can do is you can adjust the colors, which is what I like. And I'm just using my finger. This is definitely by far nowhere near anything. Okay, this is just an idea. And then I should probably put some clothing on him. So let's add something. Okay, what are we going to add on him? Let's add some. What he looks good in. Let's try some red. Red's always a good color on Dior. So let's do. Okay. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? So I'm zooming in and zooming out. You can do that in certain sections. But I'm using my finger. I'm not even, so you don't need anything. You can just use your finger for this. And I have this as a general idea, right? To just kind of test it. I like my figures. Okay. So now what are we going to do? Are we going to, let's add, as I go along, and maybe just do one figure today, right? Just test out an experiment. One figure. Let's do, and the outfits will change over time, of course. I mean, this is just I gotta make him a little bit more spacey. So let's do some gray in there. Gray is always a good color. Maybe too dark. Okay, so I wonder if I should, let's see what I can do here. Okay, so you can see I'm zooming in and zooming out. And once I'm ready, I can cut and adjust. Okay, we're going to hold off, we're going to wait, we're going to come back to that in a few moments. What we're going to do is we're going to go into Leonardo, which is an AI generated thing. So if you do AI, this is another way to do art. I don't know if you have to be 18 and older, but I use it all the time. I mean, I use other apps too, but this is an app that's AI. So let's say outer space, bright colored, bright colored planet with flying cars. Okay, I don't know. And spaceships. I don't know what it's going to come up with, but let's test it out. Okay. Hi, ZZZ. Yeah, so if you haven't tried AI, you should try it out, but I'm generating these drawings. I'm generating, let's see what comes up. I don't know. So if you've never tried it, this is a little weird. This is not what I was expecting. But if you come up with more detailed stuff, you can see AI kind of comes up with some stuff for you. So I'm going to be bringing together AI for like my storyline, for instance. I don't know if I can use the AI in the story, but I'm sure if I can modify it, it could be used for some sort of profitable, like if I wanted to do a book, then I could probably either recreate this, or if I get permission to use it, then I can use it for whatever, right? So say that, okay, and let's change the information around a little bit. Let's go back to this, and let's say that was a little crazy. Let's go back to this and switch up the words. Okay, outer space. Okay, we are, okay. Traveling to outer space, let's say. So it's like writing a story, right? Traveling to, and the more detailed you get, traveling to outer space, traveling to outer space, in a spaceship, in a white aircraft, let's say aircraft, okay, to a new planet, I don't know, that has yet, no, that would be, that has, other beings. Okay. So people always ask me, how do you make those digital art pieces because they're so different? It's because I'm using my mind to create stuff. So I'm not just waiting for somebody to give me something that's ordinary. I'm coming up with this idea to, okay, but that, well, that looks like a, that looks like a spacesuit. That wasn't quite what I was going for. But you can see it will come up with your, like, it can come up with characters. It's so fast. Or let's do that one, which is interesting. Let's see this. Yeah, it's kind of spacey. I mean, you could use this. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm creating a character. I don't want to create it off just only AI, because I feel as if you were to just do it off of AI, it may be complicated to own the rights to it, which is the same thing that applies to the music. So I kind of mix it up a little bit. You know, I'm playing around with this, but I'll show you some of my other pieces in the meantime. I have a whole bunch. Your files. And it's not, you know, you can see my detailed drawings, I actually paint. So this is, even for me, this is sort of like a new kind of exploration, right? This is the cat. Hold on, this is the cat that I'm busy working. So I'm trying to incorporate what I could do is cut and paste. If I really wanted to do, I could really use his face over here, cut it out, and put it on the figure that I'm working on, which in theory might be a wiser option. I could cut it out, right? Cut and paste. So that's the face that I'm trying to get to, but we're going to get into that later. I'm just trying to come up with the shapes right now, right? Okay. And I've incorporated, where's some other pieces? I've done like a whole bunch of things on here. It's not detailed stuff. So like for instance, this was a while ago. I did this a while ago. But you could incorporate, for instance, I could probably experiment with, I haven't done it yet, but you can incorporate these kind of shapes into like the AI, right? And make it your own to some extent. It's just dependent on what rights you have to utilize that, right? So that's a whole nother subject. That's just like I used, let me see, I have an example of myself. I've used myself in a, let me see, where was it? I think it was at the top over here. Where was it? Where did it go? Where did it go? Yeah, I experimented with this. This is like an experiment. So I cut myself out, used my face, put my face on the background of the AI, you see? Okay, so like spacey. And yeah, there are a couple of ways. So if you want to do more realistic, you could probably take photographs of yourself or photographs. Oh yeah, you can absolutely do that. You can, oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for subscribing, ZZZ. I really appreciate that. You can absolutely use AI in fashion. I've done it before. I'll even show you some of the pieces I've come up with for drawings. It's made it so much easier. I absolutely agree. Let me go onto my Facebook page. Oh, actually, even better. Let me go back to, is it on Frisco? Oh, I mean, I might have downloaded it from there already. Okay, so that's what I did the other day. You can absolutely do it. But I wouldn't, if you're going to come up with a fashion garment or drawing, I would recommend, because you're going to have to, so if you're in the fashion industry, you might have to draw it out, right? You might have to draw it out because you would have to get the measurements and stuff. So you'd still have to understand the basics, but you could go in and experiment with ideas. I experimented with ideas. I took a photograph of myself and I used the AI in the background and I posted it in there, right? So there are indeed ways to do this. And in my case, what I'm doing right now is I'm wanting to write a story. I'm wanting to write a book. So I have a book already on Amazon, and you could actually, the only thing is, if you're going to do the drawings, you have to make sure that you own the rights. Or if you use AI, the rights are yours. It becomes complicated. It's the same thing for music. I mean, I usually play my music in the background because of the copyright claims, right? Sorry, I'm going to move back a little bit. Actually, I'm going to move this back. Because of the copyright claims. So it becomes it's a very sensitive subject. We just don't know for sure what the situation is at the moment. We're just I'm experimenting with it because it just came out. Like I created these characters. I don't like these just yet. But I created the characters, right? And then in the background, I incorporated the backdrop into like the characters. So I cut and pasted, right? So that's what I'm doing right now. And this is the kind of stuff I'm getting paid for on Facebook to do, is sort of graphic design, but not really. Right? So creating AI spaces. So I just showed you how to go about, you have to be very creative. You can't just, yeah, I posed myself and I put myself in this space. So there are things you can do. Like I said, I'm using, let's see if there's another one. And these other ones too. These were experimental. These were experimental. Fashion ideas. So I was using, can you see that? I don't know if you guys can see that. So I was using, you can absolutely test out and explore the idea of fashion on here. I just don't know how, you can't put it in in your folder and claim the picture, because I don't think that that's how it's going to work. I think you would have to rework it in some way, So that is my personal opinion on there are many things you can do with it. And not just this, but if you're thinking of, look, I've also done fashion. Yeah, you can absolutely do fashion ideas. So you say, come up with fashion model in a recording studio space of blah, 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 and this is what it comes up with. But make sure the colors are specific. You know, I have to be specific when it comes down to this kind of stuff. So yeah, you can absolutely do that, but, you know. So I have a whole bunch of things that I've worked on, right? But I just don't know how far I can take it with using it for marketing purposes. I have to consider repurposing it. Maybe I can use like this face and cut the face out and put it on the figure that I'm busy working on, and then redoing the background, or do a paint. I mean, it's just, I just don't know yet. I don't know where, there probably are no limits, but I do think that we have to be conscious about how this is done and how you're going to do it carefully. You just have to be really careful. Right, oops. You know? So my idea was to have that's why I'm going back and I'm working on very simple basic drawings right now. And I have, like I do detailed pieces, but my detailed pieces are mainly by hand. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen my other paintings. I'll show you my Superman. I'll just pull it out. Hold on. It's a very complex question. I don't know how valid it is to use yet. I just don't know. I cannot, I'm not sure yet. I'm still thinking through how this can be a financial thing. So I do realistic paintings, right? So that's, but they're on larger pieces. So for me to be even moving down to a smaller kind of layout is like, oh my gosh, this is like a new thing for me. But it's all about, you got to grow with the environment. If things are changing in society, you must change with the society, because if you get left behind, you get left behind. Seeds on AI will help a lot. Helps detailed monetization. Google is after the stream. What do you mean after the stream? Google is after the stream. Well, that's okay. I think we can discuss it, because I think the world of AI has become huge. I mean, a lot of musicians, you know, as a musician, I'm also like, the music that's coming out on AI is absolutely like, oh my gosh, it's like pretty good. And the quality is pretty detailed. So the machines, the bots are learning this stuff so fast that we have to switch. We have to, like, my theory is, if you're going to participate in transforming like the world or whatever it is, we have to keep with the times. So my thing is, try to bring in AI with the projects that you're doing. I don't know. I mean, I haven't done the music yet. I'm a little scared about the music, because who owns the rights to the music? I would produce music with AI, but I produce my own stuff. So it's not like, I want to keep it as natural as possible, because you want to make sure that it's still your own. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, no, yeah, AI, yeah. Well, YouTube has said that AI is a concerning factor when it comes down to like creating a recorded video strictly off of AI, or, you know, you're using backdrops that are not like what I was doing here. These backdrops are not real. So I have to now tell YouTube, listen, I am using AI. I'm not, these are not natural. This is created with AI too. They look real, right? But you have to state that it's AI now. So I think you can utilize it, but you have to be cautious how it's going to be constructed. Same thing for fashion. We can use it for ideas, but I don't know how far you can take. You can't say, oh, I came up with the design. You probably could to some extent if you have a real detailed explanation of what you've discussed and you've put it in there, cool. But I would still be cautious. I would go back and redraw it and sketch it out and come up with like general ideas, you know? Oh, my baby here. So my cat looks like this. This looks very much like him. So in theory, I could probably, if I really wanted to, I could lop the head off and then, not lop the head off, you know what I mean? Like trim the hair, trim it off, and then put it into a different kind of figure. So I don't know, modify it, I guess. So this world of AI is becoming very, like, people are losing jobs. My husband works for CBS News. They're now being taken over, which is cool. They're now being taken over by Sony. I think Sony Music or whatever it is going to be running the show, which is, quote unquote, literally speaking or metaphorically speaking. I'm not sure how it's going to work with TV. But even in CBS, what he's told me is CBS, they've literally fired pretty much everybody. And now they're using all the technology to film everything, to do the lights. Like, AI is, you just press a button and AI does everything for you. So it's like, ugh, now the jobs are gone. What are we to do? So we really do have to adapt into it. It's just a matter of how to adapt into it. So I'm trying all ways. I haven't tried the music, but I've listened to some people who've discussed the music side of things, and same thing. You probably talk about what type of song you want to create and who's going to sing it, and all of a sudden it just comes up with this like amazing piece, and you give it a key signature and voila, it's like done. But yeah, I think we still have to be realistic about the circumstance, you know. I think we have to still be, because the bots might be able to do that, but they can't do like, some of them probably could, but they can't do like real, like you can't have a painting in front of it and say, here, can you paint a painting? I don't know if the bots are ready yet, because you need a physical body to put that together. And you need a physical body to do a sewn piece. You can't just make a garment and it's not finished. You have to, if you're going to do a garment, you have to actually sew it. So you still need that physical body to, you know. Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely correct. And you still need people to create the apps that will create the bots. So yeah, I mean, but then you still need to adapt. So us artists, I'm like an artist, right? I didn't choose IT. My husband chose IT. He was very smart. He even told me when I was younger, he's like, you really need to do IT. I was like, what's IT? I don't get it. He's like, that's the computer stuff. That's the stuff that will outlive everybody else. And I'm like, oh, yeah, now I know what you're talking about. So yes, that is absolutely correct. So the IT specialists and the cybersecurity guys are going to be like the ones that are going to fly past this whole world and take over. So stick with the IT people. That's the key there, right? They know the growth and the development. I would love to, I've learned like a little bit about like website design. I've created my own sites and all that stuff, but it's not coding. Like, it's like, you have to be like the person creating the matrix, you know? It's like, okay, we are moving into a different dimension. Yeah, so it's an interesting experience. May I ask what field you're in? Oh, we were talking. I think we were talking the other day, weren't we? Yeah. So so I'm, like I say, I do both. I think it's important to understand that I think pretty much all industries, the AI is definitely going to be monopolized, because it's going to monopolize, right? It's going to make the most amount of money it can because it's in charge of the spaces. So it's even Facebook. I'm busy here I am speaking to the bot. I'm like, oh God, I'm now friends with the AI bot on Facebook, and I'm having discussions on like what's going on in the world, and speaking Japanese, and it's translating for me, and I'm thinking, oh no, this is like, we're no longer going to have people around us. We're going to be talking to bots now too. Like, they're going to be our friends. Let's hang out. Let's have a discussion. It's like, oh, and it's already happening, you know? So it's a changing world. It's a changing world. Let's get back into this experimental design that I have. So these are just pictures that this is AI stuff. Some of them I used, some of them I just use different apps. Oh, you're a dentist? Oh, Lord. Well, you're probably experiencing all that stuff too right now in dentistry. Don't you have like machines that are actually controlling like the machines that go in and get the detailed parts? I'm pretty sure you guys do. So it's, yeah, I mean, all the industries, this is how it is now. All the industries are there. I think the arts is as, the art is a tough one because it could be considered a dying art form, or it could be expanded into something completely different. I mean, we can already create our own home studios, which is what I've done with all the stuff we're capable of finding now versus before during the time of the Beatles. Beatles, they needed like what's his name? Phil Spector. They needed Phil Spector to put the machines together and all that stuff. Oh, this picture? Oh, thank you. No, this is AI. Can you tell? Which picture? The one in the back? This one or this one? This. The picture in the back I painted. These two paintings here. This larger one was an older painting from my master's exhibition. And then the watercolor. So I was busy working on working on a watercolor the other day. I'm just kind of, yeah, not just yet. You're absolutely correct. Not just yet. They still, you're absolutely right. They probably still need, like you guys, like the people behind the scene or whoever's in charge of the company or whatever well, look, I mean, I had to go in and type out what I had in my mind, and then it would only then create but it will happen. It will happen where we will, we will just be, it will be, what is that movie? There are a whole bunch of sci-fi movies where, well, we can talk about 1984, the book. I don't know if anybody's read it, but that's a book to keep in mind. If you haven't read it, George Orwell, that's where we're going right now. It's pretty scary. That's basically what's happening, right? Yeah. So just going through these are just little experimental AIs that I've done. And these are photographs that my husband had taken of our pets. And I want to somehow incorporate these guys into, and I'm busy coming up with some ideas right now, into like a storyline. Because it's not like I'm a multimedia artist, meaning I sort of don't fit anywhere but everywhere at the same time, if you know what I mean. So I can create like a story and then put music behind it. And I have people in the animation world that I know who don't have the skills of music. Okay. Sorry about that. It freezes when people call me on my phone, and clearly the phone is what I'm using right now. Yeah, so you probably, yeah, it's true. I think, yeah, but I think it's important that we are aware that these things are happening. Like I say, the whole question on do we have the rights as individuals taking and utilizing and creating from our heads these AI pictures. Can we use it? Are we allowed to use them on, I've tested it out, I don't know if it's allowed, but I've experimented on trying a t-shirt and posting it on Amazon and seeing if that, so it printed, but I don't know how legitimate that is because I don't know who, in theory, who owns the rights to this, because it becomes, once it's out in the open, the whole world can own it, right? This is the other question. So, I don't know. And the music industry, the same. I don't know. Once the music is out there, is it out there? I mean, does it change? Do the rules change? I mean, I still think having your own own pieces and your own artwork is still the safest bet, because you don't want to get sued by anybody. Just like, the explanation of going in and machines are not able to do anything, and it's against the law for industries in the medical field to deal with that question. The same thing might apply for the art too. I don't know. I just don't know how it will work yet. I don't know how it will work. You probably could modify, like I'm in the process of modifying some ideas to use for the project. Okay, so I don't know. It's just it's been on my mind for weeks. I'm like, oh no, now this is so much easier to create stuff like that, like 2 seconds, right? 2 seconds to make something like that, where I'm sitting here, and even when I'm recording music, it's taking me like hours, days, weeks, months. And the speed of construction is so much faster that I feel like everybody just like having a recording studio or a home studio now versus before, back in the Beatles time, where you had to go into like a studio with like these huge equipment pieces. The general public is going to be able to do this like that, like no problem. So it's becoming easier, but yeah. Oh, what are you referring to? Is it an interesting topic? Yeah, I haven't really spoken about the AI. I think this is a good, I was planning on talking about the art, but since I've been playing around with the AI stuff, I thought, well, maybe this might be a day to kind of AI. So, I mean, I think, and I'm doing work on Facebook, so Facebook is not having an issue coming up with, when I come up with original content, which is what they want, they're fine with that. It's just, I just don't know how, if to move it outside of a space of social media, how realistic it is. Would it be yours? I mean, I don't know. Like, yeah, it's a big question mark. It's like lots of things. Okay, let's go back to this Leonardo. I don't know if you guys have seen, so I'm doing this live again. Okay, we were just testing out traveling to outer space with a white aircraft in a new plan. Okay, so let's do another one. Let's say, since we have, okay, so let's say, okay, let's think of another interesting scenario. Let's say a recording studio. Okay, recording studio in a space, in a spaceship. Let's say spaceship. With not shop. Oops. Spaceship. Using the colors. Oops. White and neon green. I don't know. Neon green for, yeah, let's do that. Okay, various rooms. Oops. Okay, let's see what it comes up with. I don't know. We're gonna manifest it. Yeah, I guess that's true too. Absolutely. I mean, you do. I mean, look, you can't just say to AI, you probably could. Okay, that's interesting. It's not quite what I was thinking, but that's an interesting kind of concept, right? I mean, you can take out the person, and the light's a little dark. So instead of having, oh, that's interesting. So so that's a studio space in space. But it's fun, I think it's fun to play around with, and I'm at the stage right now where I'm not just creating it with AI, but I'm trying to incorporate characters into it that are non-AI. So it's going to take a little bit longer to manifest the vision, but like it's just, I think it's, I don't know. I mean, I think the creative space has opened up a different kind of graphic design. I mean, the art world has changed. I'm already, and I'm not in an art university anymore. I've graduated so many years ago. 2009 for my master's, right? So it's like, it's like I've been on my own doing my art, right? And having jobs in different fields, whether it's art or music. I was generally teaching music, but my actual degree is in art. So I noticed that a lot of younger people are very into the music. They're like, we need music teachers. Like, I can do the music, but I also do art. So that's what I'm playing around with now. And then I'm also using Frisco. And mind you, this is just like, so I'm taking out, I'm blocking out like the background of the original picture, and then I'm modifying it and placing myself in the space, for instance. So, I mean, and movement could probably happen. So I'm looking at the whole question of, well, if you have like the imagination and the arts, and you understand the music skills, bring those together, you could probably come up with like a story that's motion picture animation, I don't know, like, which might take less time to put together than sitting there for like 2 years trying to come up with like this movie that could probably even take 6 years, because you need like 10,000 people to do it. So us people, like normal people, could probably just come up with a movie and storyline and get it out there with all of the stuff happening. I want to test it out. I want to see if it's even possible. So I'm giving it a try. I'm just coming on to... This is me trying out like an experimental idea. But, I come up with sketches. And these are just like, I haven't done anything with it yet, but you can go in and zoom in and zoom out, and I'm just using my finger as an example to create an idea. It's not even a finalized anything, but you can just see the difference between writing it down and asking AI to do it, and then having to sit down and do it for a longer amount of time. But I feel as if you need to bring the two together still. I just don't think just focusing on AI is the answer. You still need to manifest this in a way that's organic, right? So yeah. So that's all I'm doing right now. I'm not really. And then the other day I was doing a painting. Here's the watercolor. I don't know if you've seen the watercolor that I'm doing. So yes, I talk music, and then I also talk art, because I think they're interlocked, and I know people in both fields. I mean, I'm in both fields. What am I talking about? Okay, so here. So I did I'm still doing it, of a car, but this is a watercolor. So I'm better at drawing things on larger scale, right? That's what we're talking about. And then now we're just, yeah. But we're working through stuff, and I just don't want to, if you don't need to spend the money on paper, then this is the way to do it, which is the whole thing here. Okay, so it's just a quick discussion on, transitioning from the general art into, and here I modified this as well. So I posed, okay, I modeled, I took a photograph of myself because I do photography as well, and then I added the AI background, and that's the other part that I do, so yeah. And this is what it looked like before. Just to see how I actually, because somebody had asked me, so how do you do that? Kitchen desk, kitchen table, okay, had some decent lighting, and I took a photograph and added the background. That's how I did it. Okay, so it's true. It's like graphic design. That's what we do. That's like graphic designers are now, this is just a photograph I took. So nothing was modified there. I just adjusted the color. So yeah. So yeah, it's I mean, I think it's more important to experiment than not to jump in and test it out, because if you don't know what your capabilities are, you don't know what you can do with it. So that's just my personal opinion, and I come from a background where I would sit and do paintings for hours and hours and hours, or I sit and teach music for hours and hours and hours, or I compose a piece for hours and hours and hours, and I still have pieces that I produce that are not finished. So it's like a, you know, yeah, it's one of those things. So I think that's generally the general chat today. I'm going to work on this a little bit more. It's not like I have to go back in and edit and modify and adjust, and maybe I'll add in something and then fix the figure. But you know, I mean, bringing them together on various types of skills is important. Having these skills in general are useful, because what happens is, you know, you don't have to ask a graphic designer. I mean, I don't ask anybody to do. And I did a little explanation on how I did this for a young person the other day. I was outside. We started off with an apple, some grapes, you know, and how to do like a quick sketch. And everybody has a tablet. So, you know, this is like the new computer. When I was growing, there was no such thing. I'm like Generation X. Everybody talks about Generation. I'm Generation X. So I'm like the older, not the older generation, but I'm the generation where we didn't have like this kind of technology. So I'm learning like everybody else is learning, right? So that's the whole thing here is you have to kind of adapt. It's called adaptation. I think it's important to adapt to the nows and the possibilities of what can happen. And having the, you know, the basic skills, you know. So that's a little bit more detailed. I went into like a garment design. I think I used this for a little book that I posted on Amazon. It wasn't anything special, but I wanted to test to see the quality, because it was better doing it on here if you're going to do a book than to do it like this. Let me show you this. This was a disaster. I was like, I'm never going to do it like this again. It's so bad. These are like, you know, like watercolor on black paper was not the way to go for a storyboard. But I experimented, right? This is like, it was for a kid's book. This is not a detailed piece. But the quality is better if you're going to be creating something by hand. Best to do it on here, do it by hand, get a pencil or whatever, and then work from this platform or format, because you can send it off, put it in the book that you do online, and voila, it's done. So that's basically what we have here. Okay. Yeah, and these are just experiments, and then, you know, the students, or a student that I have right now, we're talking about shapes and how to create animals and stuff. So it's all varied. It's like fashion drawings, right? So I was doing this by hand a while ago, fashion drawing, quick sketches. Okay. So I'm just talking about Adobe Fresco and Leonardo, which is the whatchamacallit, the AI app, and utilizing both. I even use what is it? There was another one that I used too. What is it? Oh, PS Express, Adobe. It's also Adobe Photoshop. I haven't used this one. I usually use the one on my phone. But then you can go in and adjust the stuff. So this is, oh, come on. Okay, we don't need all that info. Okay, now I'm gonna leave it. But it's called, okay, I'll just allow full access. It's fine. Okay. And then you can modify. Okay, let's go into this. Let's take this for an example. Okay, we're going to take, okay, so we're going to take this and we're going to lighten it up. I don't know, I might have to readjust. This is just, you know, I'm limited because I'm not paying for certain things on here. But once you start paying, you could probably get like video editing and all that stuff on here, I believe. And I use iMovie to edit my videos, if that helps. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't forget to Google image generate seeds. Ah, that's good to know. Google image generator. There's another one that I'm going to try that out. There's another one that I do use that is actually from this company. It's called Firefly. And this one particularly has very refined and absolute detailed, if you do landscapes, it's amazing. Like if you do, I don't have it on this one, but I have, let me show you one that I did on there. And I think they use Motion. So once you start paying for this, it's Adobe Firefly, yeah. Get Express. I don't know what Express is. So once you start, and these apps want you to pay for everything, right? This is the next level. It's like, okay, so now you're getting involved with this. So now we're going to have you pay. Same thing happened on Facebook. It was like all hunky-dory and fantastic. And then they're like, oh yeah, but if you want to get more views, you need to like pay for the monthly. Oh gosh. I was doing the monthly thing. And then I was like, why am I doing this? What's the point? Like, they're supposed to be paying us and then we're giving the money back. I'm like, how? It's like, does this make any sense? And hopefully, if you start purchasing, like, something like, and I think you do that as well on all the other apps. Once you start purchasing it, hopefully you're generating money doing the thing that you're doing, right? No, in regards to, you mean, Facebook, not everybody. Yeah, I mean, I'm not paying for. I have to I mean, I'm an artist. I'm like a starving artist, literally speaking. I'm not making fortunes, so I need to delegate what I'm capable of doing, right? Oh, image generator seeds. Yes, yes, yes. I will take a look at that. I will take a look at that. Thank you so much. I will definitely take a browse, for sure. But yeah, today is just a day where I was like, well, since everybody's talking about all of this AI stuff, I think I need to get involved in having a discussion on the art side instead of just talking about the music side. So yeah. So it's a bit of an interesting day. I'm not going to be too long on here. I thoroughly appreciate everybody popping over. I'm glad I'm doing these live because it does enable to store the discussions, which is really good. If I was just doing this by myself, I would definitely not have capabilities to remember what it is that I was thinking. So this becomes very useful for, for that kind of stuff. So we're keeping it simple right now. I think, I'm going to go back and make more detailed, descriptive visuals of the design. I started the drawing of Dior, my cat. And everybody's interested in our pets, so I'm like, okay, we need to now incorporate these into an art format. I could do a pencil drawing, but that's very cliche. Everybody's doing pencil drawings and sketches. I'm trying to do something like create an animation. I mean, wouldn't that be cool? To create an animation, I would like to test out the music and see, bringing the two together and see what could be done. I mean, I have lots of songs I can always use, and maybe, I'll have to mix and master the pieces because they're not complete. Yes, no, absolutely. No, I'm absolutely aware of that, for sure. Yes, it is definitely a tech. Absolutely. Yes. And my husband would probably be, he says he wanted to build bots back in the day. I was like, he was like a master gamer. So he's giving me this whole like thing about how YouTube was actually like known for like gamers, and I was like, what are you talking about? Like, this is like artistic. No, he's like, no, it was known to have people sitting and playing games on here. This is like, what you're doing is like not what it's known for. I was like, oh, okay. So he's coming from a perspective of that IT, cybersecurity, whatever you want to call it, master and he was like a brilliant guy with the video games. I was like, he could figure things out in 5 seconds. Like, you give him a game and he'll solve the game in like an hour. I was like, you done? You got, like, you finished the whole game? It's like, wow, that's impressive. So yeah, like, I want him to create like an app. I'm like, can you make an app for us? That would be so cool. I'd love to see how he does it in the back end, but I don't think he'll do it. He's like, I'm too busy. He's like, he has no time. So I'm doing my own thing now. I'm like, okay, I'll just be like the creative force here. Yeah, that's great. Oh, I'm so glad that you popped over. I really do appreciate you popping over. Thank you so much for this conversation. I thoroughly appreciate it. So, Abdul are you from, are you the person that was here from Egypt? Was it you that was from Egypt? I can't remember that name. Yes, Egypt. Oh, you're Egyptian, but you're not living in Egypt. Yes, that's what I thought. I was like, didn't we have that discussion about music? Now we're switching over to ours. Okay, great. So there you have it. So now you can see I generally do both. So it's kind of like, which is good. I think it's important to have a discussion on assessing both. I'm not a medical field person. I have family members that are, but I'm horrible with like medications and needles. I'm like, you give me a needle, I'll pass out. I'm like, I'm done. It's like, drag me out now. I'm finished. I can't do it. Oh, you do live in Egypt. That is so cool. Speaking of Egypt, they have all these interesting things that they're discovering again. I'm like, where are all these, like, they're discovering all this new stuff. It's so crazy. It's like, what is going on? It's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to just keep it short and sweet. I might do a longer video and have like background music and all that stuff in a discussion on the AI and the transition that we're having within the arts, and then also the music, and then kind of bring them together. Like I said, I haven't done the music production side of the AI, but there's lots out there, and I'm sort of hesitant because the moment I press something in there and I come up with like an interesting idea, it's out there, and the waves move faster than anything else. So it's like, oh great, now the music's out there. So okay. Well, thank you so much. I really do appreciate this conversation. It was very, very, very methodical in discussion, which was good. I've had a lot of younger students or younger people, like 8 years old, 9 years old, and they're still starting off, right, with their inspirational ideas of how to use GarageBand and the iPad and stuff. I mean, I have some tracks on here. You guys can take a look at it. I even have videos discussing it. But they're still at the beginning phases. So it's nice to see a vastness of, ages on here. I really do appreciate everybody coming on here. I think that makes it fascinating. This is why I enjoy coming on to YouTube, because look, who would have thought I've met people from Portugal, I've met people from Egypt already. I mean, this is so cool. I lived in Japan for 9 years. My mom is South African. I like international. I don't like being in one country. I mean, I'm in one country and theoretically, but we're traveling now with these lives. So it's so cool. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. I will be back tomorrow. I'm going to try I have to get into my other stuff. I have my Poshmark that I need to attend to, which is the fashion stuff. So I need to get back into the business side of things. So we'll switch over. Very much appreciated, guys. Feel free to take a look at what we discussed on this video. It was a very interesting discussion. So if people have missed out on the beginning part, feel free to reverse back into the beginnings of it and see what we've kind of like concluded, or the inconclusive discussion of where we are with the AI world, because maybe it's just open-ended discussion right now, right? So, okay, thank you again. I appreciate it. I thoroughly enjoyed the discussion. This was really good. It's molding various skills and people from around the world, and I thoroughly appreciate it. I will see you guys in the next one. I will have a video out. If I'm not on live tomorrow, I'll be doing a video. So I see YouTube as a professional format or platform not just for business, but for, like, I'm an academic. I like to have like intense discussions. Like if you give me thoughts, like things to think about, I'm going to think about it, because I did my master's, and for me it's like academics is like, that was like my, I'm like, wow. But it has to be like really like out there. It's like nobody talks about it, so we must talk about it, you know? Okay, oops. Yeah. All these things going on. Okay. Thank you again, folks. I really appreciate it, and I will speak to you guys in the next one. Have a wonderful evening, day, morning, wherever it is in the world for you right now. I always have to remind myself it's not just daytime or noon. It could be nighttime, it could be evening, it could be midnight, it could be whatever, morning. So wherever it is, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and I will speak to you guys soon. Thank you so much for popping in and joining me for a brief discussion on the AI technology. Okay, and I'll be back for the next one. Thank you again. Much appreciated. Bye.